Council meeting of June 16th, 2020 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Kirkowski.
Here.
Lorik.
Here.
Dukenyak.
Here.
Alderman Toman is excused. Alderman Gale.
Here.
Guzekowski.
Here. Would everybody, you want to read it first or should we do the pledge?
Your choice.
Let's do the pledge first. Chief Anderson, would you start us off, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Catherine, if you would read our notice in about video conferencing, please.
So, certainly. The City of Oak Creek is authorized to hold this public meeting remotely during the COVID-19 public health emergency. This meeting being conducted via Zoom video conference with telephone conferencing capabilities was duly noticed per the City of Oak Creek Municipal Code and statutory notice requirements more than 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Members of the public have been advised of the options for participation via direct mailing to property owners. This meeting may be viewed at the city's YouTube page, the link for which was contained in all aforementioned notice methods. The meeting recording will also be accessible on the city's YouTube page within 48 hours. When unmuted, all participants must state their name and address for the record, then proceed to comments and questions. Questions and comments may also be entered into the Q&A function within the Zoom webinar control panel. Staff and/or moderator will monitor this function during the meeting and provide the information requested. There is one. And the end.
Thank you, Catherine. That'll get us to item 3, and that's approval of the minutes of June 2nd, 2020. Everybody, please take a look. If there's no omissions, errors, or corrections, motion, please.
Kirkowski make a motion to approve the minutes of June 2nd, 2020.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
And item 4 is informational, and it is our COVID-19 update, and we have our health officer, Darcy Dubois, with us tonight, virtual. Darcy?
Hi, good evening. I'm Darcy Dubois, Health Officer with the City of Oak Creek. Just a brief update on cases. So as of today, we've had 197 individuals test positive here in Oak Creek for COVID. We've had just over 2,400 negative test results. We have experienced 12 deaths amongst our citizens, and 148 of the individuals who tested positive have been determined to be recovered and have been released from their isolation period. The data dashboard was shared with the community about 2 weeks ago. We've had a lot of positive feedback about that. It is linked on our social media, and it's also posted on the website. Also a lot of interest, I think, from other communities. I think that Greg in IT has been answering a lot of questions about how that works, but I think that the increased data sharing has been really appreciated by community and our community partners. We continue to see higher numbers of Oak Creek residents being tested, and we continue to see a low percentage of individuals test positive, which is really good news. We also have been seeing that the majority of our cases are not connected to an outbreak, and that means that we don't know what the source of their infection was. They didn't have any known contact with another individual who tested positive. We have been continuing to work with businesses and workplaces, answering questions and providing guidance as they are operating, and as situations come up and they have questions, they're giving us a call. We're also supporting those businesses and workplaces as they experience confirmed cases connected with their facility. The questions around how to handle that and how to move forward. And we have a lot of contact with businesses. Just a brief staffing update. So we did post our temporary part-time positions late last week. We're hoping to hire a number of individuals who will be available to work through part-time through the end of the year. At this point, we have grant funding available through the end of the year that will support the work that we're doing with COVID. Our hope is that those staff will free up some of the full-time or permanent health department staff time so that we could start to resume some of our more normal or traditional activities once they're on board and trained. We know that we will be losing our part-time staff, the library staff, and the school nurses over the next couple of weeks and months. So we're hoping that these part-time staff will help to fill that void. Are there any questions?
Questions for Darcy? Steve?
Darcy, Alderman Kirkowski, we're in Phase C, and I understand Hales Corners went to Phase C recently. Can you give us an update on what some of the other communities have transitioned into, if at all?
Sure. So the rest, I believe all of the other communities, with the exception of Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee, are in Phase C. At this point, they transitioned late last week based on the data. We're a little bit different based on the discussion that we had at our May Common Council meeting. We don't have the gathering limit sizes, which the other communities do. But most of their other recommendations now are lined up across the suburban communities.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Darcy? No, nothing. Darcy, it's nice to see that, even with the increased testing that we're stabilized and things are kind of going in the right direction. We have had some questions over when we'll start to move through phases, and I know you don't have the answers, but things such as splash pads and public restrooms, any idea how far we have to progress to move in those directions?
Yeah, we have been discussing those things amongst the city staff, and I think that's it'll be an ongoing decision. Certainly our hope is that we'll get to opening those things for the community fairly soon.
Thank you. Okay. Nothing else. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your time tonight, Darcy.
Thank you.
Okay, item 5, consideration of a resolution of commendation to Rebecca Lane, who retired as our urban forester. And Catherine, I'd like you to read that into the record, please.
Certainly, resolution number 12165061620, resolution of commendation to Rebecca Lane. Whereas Rebecca Lane began her employment with the city of Oak Creek on May 22nd, 1995, when she was hired as a temporary seasonal part-time tree inventory specialist for the Community Development Department. And whereas on September 9th, 1999, Rebecca's position transitioned into the Parks and Recreation Department. And whereas on April 3rd, 2000, Rebecca's position was reclassified to a regular part-time urban forester. And whereas on April 5th, 2005, Rebecca was appointed to full-time urban forester. And whereas during her tenure as urban forester, Rebecca was responsible for the planting, and maintenance of the trees that dot Oak Creek's landscape. And whereas since 2005, when the emerald ash borer was first found in the Oak Creek area, Rebecca has worked tirelessly to save and treat as many emerald ash so they were not lost to this invasive beetle. And whereas Rebecca was a very effective employee during her years of service with the city of Oak Creek, answering many calls from the community and providing immeasurable service to the community. And whereas in 2016, Rebecca received a merit award for demonstrating exceptional performance for completing the landscape and planting at the new Civic Center and Fire Station 1. And whereas effective June 5th, 2020, Rebecca is retiring from her position of urban forester with the city of Oak Creek, completing over 25 years of service to the city of Oak Creek. Now therefore be it resolved that the best wishes for good health and happiness be extended to Rebecca and her family in her retirement years. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and the city clerk be and is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Rebecca Lane, passed and adopted the 16th day of June, 2020.
Thank you, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Does anybody want to say anything on Rebecca's behalf?
Here.
Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Alderman Kirkowski, I just think that I've had minimal contact with Rebecca over the years that I've been on the council, but I think as a citizen here in the city, I really don't know how public Rebecca was. I mean, she went out and she did her job, and I think she was more like a kind of a silent warrior out there, taking care of her job. And when we saw all the trees planted recently on Drexel Avenue, I mean, we see Ted and his crews out there doing it, but somehow I think Rebecca had a big part in that. And, maybe, Ted's crew gets the credit for planting them, but, Rebecca probably should get the credit for doing some of that legwork behind the scenes. So I just want to thank her for her hard work here in the city.
Chris?
I was just going to say that, Rebecca, again, to Alderman Kirkowski's point, kind of a silent warrior. She would go to anyone's house that would call her up and say, hey, can you come and help me? I'll try and figure out what's going on here at a drop of a hat. So she truly was really there for the residents, and they may not have known it, but she'll truly be missed. I did work with her on Parks and Rec as well. So seeing some of the planning and details she put in behind the work really makes it feel kind of effortlessly, all in thanks to her. So congrats on her retirement. I didn't know she was retiring actually until I saw it.
Ted, you want to say a few words about Rebecca, please?
Sure. Actually, it was very sudden. Rebecca gave me notice 2 weeks before her retirement. So we'll miss Rebecca, and we'll miss the work that she's done for the city. And until we're able to find a suitable replacement, or that we'll kind of muddle our way through, and hopefully won't have any interruption of service to our citizens.
Thank you, Ted. Anyone else? Okay. I'll just give you my point of view with Rebecca. Rebecca was actually a really impressive lady. She started here as a seasonal worker over 25 years through knowledge and just dedication to her job. She became our urban forester. You talk about, going right from a seasonal worker, basically cutting lawns and planting trees and caring for them, going right to the top person that planned out the canopy in this city. And a lot of residents are really worried about losing green space and stuff like that. And she was diligent to keep it there. And if you've ever gone through one of our planning meetings, you will see the extensive landscape plans that have her fingerprints all over it as to the trees and the shrubs and everything that goes along with it. You see it Drexeltown Square, but goes into all our developments, and her fingerprints are all over the city, from Emerald Preserve to the lakefront to Abendschein Park. She was an advocate for being green, without a doubt. And as Chris said, she'd share her knowledge with anybody. If a resident called up and said, my tree's sick, should I be trimming these things? She was always there to offer advice. More importantly, she really mentored Ted's crews. She had some people that really looked up to her, really instilled that passion for forestry in them. And you got some really good workers down there. I think she did her job well and mentored well, and we won't miss a beat. I'm going to wish her well in her retirement. She's going to be missed. Again, yeah, it was sudden, but I think she's just an excellent story for a woman that in what's considered probably a man's field really excelled to the point of being the head forester in the city of Oak Creek, which is no easy task. So again, happy retirement to Rebecca. So if we could, motion on that, please.
Clerk will move to approve resolution number 12165-061620, resolution of commendation to Rebecca Lane, retiring urban forester.
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukniak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye. And item 6 is consideration of a resolution of appreciation to Julie M. Garberger, retiring police officer. Did I kill her name? Grauberger. And she is done with her service, and she will be retiring. Chief, would you like to say a few words? Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped right over it. Catherine, please read
Certainly.
that in.
Resolution 12166061620 by committee as a whole, resolution of appreciation to Julie M. Grauberger. Whereas Julie M. Grauberger began her employment with the city of Oak Creek on July 22nd, 1991 as a full-time police officer. And whereas during her 28 years and 11 months of service, Julie M. Grauberger has been an integral part of the police station while serving as a patrol officer. And whereas Julie M. Grauberger has continued to serve the citizens of Oak Creek with honor and professionalism. And whereas Julie M. Grauberger has served as a member of the Crisis Negotiators Unit, the Warrant Squad, and the Drug Unit in addition to her normal duties throughout her career. And whereas Julie M. Grauberger has been a valuable employee during her years of dedicated service with the Oak Creek Police Department, always striving to enhance the quality of life for the citizens of the city, and has been well known for her work ethic and her dedication to the department. And whereas Julie M. Grauberger received 5 shift acknowledgements, 4 meritorious arrest awards, and 1 unit citation, 1 award of excellence, 1 Medal of Valor award, 1 life-saving award, and was recognized as a top cop in the United States for her actions on August 5th, 2012. And whereas Julie M. Grauberger is retiring from the Oak Creek Police Department after completing 28 years and 11 months of full-time service to the city of Oak Creek. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Common Council of the city of Oak Creek for and on behalf of the citizens of the city of Oak Creek that sincere gratitude and appreciation be extended to Julie M. Grauberger for her years of professional, dedicated, and faithful service to the city of Oak Creek and the police department. And that the best wishes for good health and happiness be extended to Julie M. Grauberger and her family for future years. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the minutes of the meeting, and the city clerk is hereby directed to transmit a suitable copy thereof to Julie M. Grauberger. Passed and adopted the 16th day of June, 2020.
Great. Chief?
Thank you. So Julie and I actually started the same day. So that's part of our history of working together. She's one thing that was not mentioned in there through all of the other things she did. She's very fluent in Spanish. So since we did not have a translator, but she served as a translator for many years for us as well. Very dedicated to her family, to the department. Being a crisis negotiator, she's been involved in numerous call-outs where she's had to talk to those people in distress, and she does a very good job. Several of her recognitions were for her investigative skills on putting large financial cases together as a patrol officer, not a detective. So she wanted to stick with cases that she had and wanted to see them through. So she's done a very good job with that. And the August 5th, we all know what that day was. She was one of the responding officers to the Sikh temple. Her and that group were recognized in Washington, D.C. the following year, along with the Medal of Valor Award and the other awards that came from that. So she's going to be missed by our department. She did give plenty of notice trying to work towards this date so we could be prepared, so we appreciated that as well. So I'm happy that we were able to get a resolution for her and hopefully have it for her last day, which is, I think, June 29th of work. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any words for Julie from the council? Anyone? Chris?
Congratulations.
Excellent. I think we lost Ken. Anyways, I'd like to congratulate Julie on her retirement as well. 28 years as an officer, another female that excelled in a traditional male field. You could tell just by the resolution, she worked all phases of the police department. From the ground up, and that's a lot of experience walking out the door and dedication. Again, it's just very impressive when you take into account 28 years ago, Oak Creek was already diversifying into having females on the force, and not only that, putting them in positions of leadership. And she definitely didn't disappoint us over her 28 years, so we appreciate that and the role model she set for other young officers there to follow in her footsteps. So we wish Julie and her family a long and happy retirement and well earned. Thank you. Motion, please.
Clerk will move to adopt resolution number 12166-061620, resolution of appreciation to Julie M. Grauberger, retiring patrol officer.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorick.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye. Item 7 is engineering, and it's consideration of a motion to enter into an environmental professional service agreement with Ramboll to develop an interim remedial action plan for the city's Lake Vista North properties at a cost of about $23,000, $200. Mike Simmons here to explain.
Thank you, Mayor. I have asked Sue Winnan to attend as well. Sue has done a significant amount of work on all of the lakefront redevelopment work over the years, and I think she'll be valuable to help answer questions that may come of this. So as everyone knows, the city has been working on for well over a decade now on the lakefront sites, these former industrial sites that have impacted soils, to get them remediated and in shape for redevelopment. And we made a lot of progress, particularly on the South Lake Vista sites, of course, with the park and the recent marketing activities on the remainder of those sites. What we're going to talk about here tonight is the North Lake Vista properties, and you can see the graphic that Sue has put up. That is the property that is sometimes referred to as the old Peter Cooper site. It is 4 properties now. The 3 highlighted in yellow are the eastern properties that belong, that are the cities. And the large property to the west, highlighted in blue, is West Park property. And obviously, one of their initiatives in the city's strategic action plan is to market the lakefront for development on a regional and national scale. And we have an opportunity now to accelerate that process. Things have moved along on a somewhat measured pace over the past several years. And the site has, I guess, served us well in the capacity of accepting fill materials, most of which have come from the Drexel Town Square developing sites. So there are a lot of stockpiles of soil out there. At any rate, we need to continue to move forward to get that site in shape for redevelopment. And through Sue's hard work, she has come across a really great opportunity for us to move this along, really accelerate it. Working with MMSD, they have a large detention pond project that they're constructing in the spring 2021. They have a really large volume of clean soil that needs to find a home. And this is really something that we have been searching for, hoping for. This soil is of such a volume that it could cover the entire site as the capping, the clean soil capping, much like we did at Lake Vista South, to get it remediated and then therefore ready for redevelopment. And you'll see in the next item, there is such a volume of soil that there is another project that we are looking at very seriously, that soil could help us in that capacity as well. So at any rate, some of the recent activities that we've had on the Lake Vista North site is the working with Stantec, an environmental consultant that helped us navigate through the process with the Department of Natural Resources for the capping, the filling and capping of, the approvals for filling of the wetlands. There's various wetlands across this site, really several of them. A good portion of which they helped us with getting the determination that these wetlands were artificial and therefore they were easier to get approvals for actually filling. So that got us to a point where we are getting closer to actually moving that dirt around out there, those stockpiles that I talked about. And then, really this is a big piece of the puzzle, this clean soil that we've been, hoping for. So we are also, it puts us in a position that we need to act fairly quickly. And that's why we are hoping to work with Ramboll. This is another environmental consultant that have helped us on the Drexel Town Square site, on the lakefront sites, and in other areas throughout the city. They're very familiar with this property. So what we need to do is we need to get what's termed an interim remedial action plan, and that is the capping of the site. So we hope to work with them to get us to that point. And so I think that's really all I have, other than, you know, it's imperative that we move forward with this.
And again, Mike brought up the opportunity to receive some clean fill that's coming. It's basically coming out of the Holt interchange area. And Oak Creek was blessed once before with that interchange when we capped the south end of it, when they put the tunnels in and everything. And this is really the shortest trucking route we possibly could have found this stuff. So this opportunity, we're actually really blessed to have it. And again, we'd all like to see the design of the park going, everything happen. No offense to the engineers, but this is the hard work that gets us there. It's not always the most exciting thing to talk about, moving dirt and things like that, but this is.
We find it exciting.
Mr. Mayor, if I could add.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've talked about dirt so much I never thought I would in my career, but so I've been communicating out to the council on kind of the broader impacts and implications and project scope in this area here, what we refer to as the North Bluff. So really we have kind of two separate yet could potentially be commingled projects. We have the upland portion capping along with our partnership with West Park to really get that to a state of redevelopment. And this soil is opportunistic for that capping exercise to get us to a state of redevelopment. The volume of soil is such that, however, kind of talking to both of these two agenda items, is that it also presents an opportunity for soil to do a bluff stability project in the future. And while we don't have that, you know, obviously funded, we know there are some concerns there. This would further both of those causes to a degree, but important for your comfort level. As you know, those projects don't come free. These agenda items relate to an environmental contract for engineering services, and the next one relates to another scope for a different environmental engineer, or actually a bluff engineer, more so their expertise. With design and permitting of these solutions doesn't automatically make you have to go forward with those projects. Obviously, if you look, they're all a priority, but there is a financial reality to this. And I just want you to know that we are not signing up for a project that's currently beyond the scope financially of the TID right now, but we are positioning ourselves with both of these items, specifically for the source of clean soil, but also for an engineered solution later on to the bluff stability project. We are positioning ourselves to be able to be competitive for funding. As we know, it's going to take partnerships and grant sources from all different types of programs to really execute such a project. We could not do this just on the local financial backs of the city of Oak Creek, specifically in this area, the tax increment financing district 13.
Great. Questions from the council? Steve?
Mike, with this quantity of soil that potentially exists, you think there's going to be more soil than you can conceivably use? Just curious.
We've done a calculation, and this really gets us in the ballpark of the soil that will be needed. So if we have more than is needed to cap the site, we are in the process of developing a grading plan. We can enhance the city properties, which are slated for parkland, open use, that you can build some, earth features.
That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
First thing comes to mind was.
We certainly don't want just a completely flat site.
Yeah, there's a portion of the ball field at Abendschein that has some issues, I think, out by the creek or something that needs a little bit of work. Okay, thanks. Right.
Sue, you got something?
I think Mike covered it.
Oh, okay.
Well, how do we come across like freedirt.com, or how do you stumble on it? So the one bird dogging it and trying to find it.
Correct.
Go ahead.
It's got to be on the
Close the
mic, Sue.
microphone.
Yeah, yes, we've just been kind of bird dogging it, keeping our contacts out there and spreading the word. And when I heard of the project, we made the connection with MMSD. We have a long history with MMSD working together, so they've been very helpful.
Well, those partnerships that you make throughout day in and day out, helps come to fruition and helps bring us home. So thank you very much.
Sue is right. Then partnerships with MMSD, it enabled us to do things like Emerald Preserve over the years and a lot of stuff at the lake. And this is an MMSD project that's helping control stormwater management over there on that end of town. And the timing actually couldn't have been better for us, to tell you the truth. It's quite a blessing.
It really is.
Good work, Sue.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken, did you have anything? Kind of forget you out there.
I'm good, Danny.
Okay, motion, please.
Kirkowski make a motion to enter into an environmental professional services agreement with Ramboll to develop an interim remedial action plan for the city's Lake Vista North properties at a cost of $23,200.
Next, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
And 8 is also engineering, and Andrew alluded to this one, and it's agreement with Edgewater Resources for design and permitting for a bluff stability solution for the city, for the property at 8940 South 5th for a cost up to $71,000. Mike.
Thank you, Mayor. So yes, Andrew did a good job setting this one up. Yes, related to the site, a separate project, but there is a good opportunity for coordination that will help move both projects along. Again, what we're doing now is getting us set up with preliminary design of the bluff stabilization project, which we have identified as a large stone revetment down at the water line and actually into the water line a bit, and then clean soil addition behind that, which would give us restore the stable slope of the bluff. And this was something that was presented to the council probably 7-8 years ago, with some concepts and some cost estimates. Really at the time, everybody thought this is something that has to happen, in the distant future. At that time, the lake levels were low, and they have risen quickly and to almost record levels. And so that has taken a toll on our bluff. There is erosion and there is undermining, and it's concerning to us because what we did a couple of years ago with our project where we stabilized the top of the bluff, and the goal there was to hold the impacted materials that we knew that were up on that bluff top in place. And so it's become a little more precarious with the conditions that we have out there. But at any rate, that has it's kept us moving on exploring, what it'll take to stabilize that bluff. So again, this soil gives us an opportunity to maybe get a couple of steps closer to that. But at any rate, we have been doing some preliminary work with Edgewater Resources. They are a company that has improved shorelines in many cities across the U.S., and they have shown us some concepts. They've done some preliminary work really on their own dime to present those concepts to us, to do some cost estimating. And so we have an idea of what this bluff stabilization project could cost, and it's significant, as Andrew alluded to. So what we hope to do with this contract is to get the preliminary design, get the permitting in place, and then expect that will really give us a leg up on pursuing grants. And there are grant opportunities out there, some money that we've already procured from MMSD. And in fact, the money that we would use on this contract, that is grant money that was given to us. So it's 100% grant money. And I know that Sue, you recently applied for or participated in that, responded to that FEMA. I guess there's a big program from FEMA that is coming on board. So we really expect that this will get us to a point where we would be considered favorably on grant applications. Again, this does not require us to construct, but we want to get to a point where we can explore our options for major funding help. So,
Great. Questions for Mike? Anybody?
I think the only question I have, whether it's this item or the previous item, does any of this impact West Park as far as financially? Will they be part of paying in or helping along the way here? We don't need to get into it all right now. I just wanted to ask that question.
Yes, we've been working with West Park. They're aware of this opportunity. There is a lot of work to be done out there, preliminary work. If the trucks are going to start rolling in the spring with this clean soil, we need to have the site cleared. We need erosion control measures in place, and we need stockpiles graded out and buildings demolished. They've got buildings on their property yet, so there are costs.
That's work that they'll take care of, or
that is work that they will. Yeah, that is their responsibility. So that's kind of really the contribution. I mean, our goal is to get the entire site really cleared and remediated and ready to move forward. If something breaks loose on a development, it's ready to go. So
that's perfect timing.
This is going to be a coordinated effort, a partnership with West Park, but I guess how I would summarize an answer to your question is they should be as motivated as we are with this clean soil source, because that obviously is what they need eventually as well. So there's probably going to be some give and take and some a lot of discussions in the field about ways to be more efficient. But we should hopefully they realize and seize the same opportunity that we have before us. And I think that's where the partnership and the discussion has gone since kind of this source of soil being identified.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions for Mike? Okay, seeing none, motion.
Kirkowski make a motion to enter into a professional services agreement with Edgewater Resources, Inc. to initiate design and permitting for a bluff stability solution for the city property at 8940 South Fifth Avenue at a cost of up to $71,000.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
And item 9 is the License Committee. I will turn that over to Alderman Kirkowski.
Thank you, Mayor. I trust everybody has had an opportunity to read the Common Council report for tonight's meeting. Does anybody have any cares, questions, or concerns? No. Hearing none, Kirkowski make a motion to grant the various license requests as listed on the June 16, 2020 License Committee report.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
And item 10 is approval of the June 10th, 2020 vendor summary report. If everybody take a look and address their questions to the appropriate person if they're here. Pretty standard for the month. Okay. when you are satisfied, motion.
Kirkowski make a motion to approve the June 10th, 2020 vendor summary report in a total amount of $382,181.69.
Dukenyak, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
And item 11 is consideration of a motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State statutes to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, Sub E, and Sub G to consider the waiver and general release for former police officer James Dooley. B, Section 1985, Sub 1, Sub E, and Sub G to consider a claim of Erie Insurance on behalf of Jeremy Carmen regarding a January 6, 2020 automobile accident involving a city vehicle. And C, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, and Sub G to consider the claim of the Society Insurance on behalf of MVP Pest Control LLC regarding a January 21st, 2020 automobile accident involving a city vehicle. President Gale?
Thank you, Mayor. Gail moved to convene in a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State statutes to discuss the following. A, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C, Sub E, and G to consider a waiver and general release for former police officer James Dooley. B, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, and G to consider a claim of Erie Insurance on behalf of Jeremy Carmen regarding a January 6, 2020 automobile accident involving a city vehicle. And C, Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub E, and G to consider a claim of Society Insurance on behalf of MVP Pest Control LLC regarding a January 21, 2020 automobile accident involving a city vehicle.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
We will now convene into closed session and resume at its conclusion. Thank you. We stay in here. We-
8:10.
Doing business.
Ready? We'll now consider a motion to reconvene into open session.
Gail moves to reconvene in open session.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
President Gale, would you like to take the appropriate actions needed?
Thank you, Mayor. On item 11A, Gail moves to accept the waiver and general release for police officer James Dooley effective May 31st, 2020.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
On item 11B, Gail will move to grant the subrogation claim of Erie Insurance in the amount of $8,904.30 and the claim of Jacqueline Carmen in the amount of $254.62.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
And item 11C, Gail moved to grant the subrogation claim of Society Insurance in the amount of $26,456.44.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call.
Alderman Dukenyak.
Aye.
Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
No.
Lorik.
Aye.
And just before we adjourn, just a couple things. Be aware the COVID is still out there. Please practice social distancing. And the businesses still need you to return and keep a appropriate social distancing. But the local businesses, again, are open, and please frequent them and show them your appreciation to them. The farmers market has returned to Oak Creek. They are practicing social distancing and the appropriate measures by the CDC. So please, if you have a chance on Saturday, visit them. They are open from 9 to 1. And good news, another good news, we had some residents asking about the We Energies fishing pier. It opened today at 6 a.m. So if you're in the market to go fishing down there, you can now utilize that pier once again. A little another step into normality. So with that, adjournment, please.
Kirkowski make a motion to adjourn.
Next second. Roll call.
Alderman Gale.
Aye.
Guzekowski.
Aye.
Kirkowski.
Aye.
Lorik.
Aye.
Dukenyak.
All right. Good night, everybody. Have a good week.
See y'all.